Okay, what do you think? Should we need to start or what?
I guess so.
Okay. Recording, and you can hear my sound, so we're good to go.
Oh, I know.
Welcome to the Rebel Alliance Briefing Room podcast. We are here to podcast about anything and everything Star Wars with you. Please visit our website where you can play current and past episodes. That's https://RABR KyleJohansson.us. That's RABR.KAILEJOHANSEN.US. On the left-hand side is a navigation menu. You can use this to learn how to load the Rebel Alliance Briefing Room podcast on your Android or Apple phone and tablet. And we have direct links to our podcast on Apple and Google Podcasts. Please participate by connecting to our social media, answering questions of the week, or submitting feedback directly from the site. Again, all of these are available at the Rebel Alliance Briefing Room website at RABR.KAILEJOHANSEN.US. And now it's time to talk Star Wars. I'm Kyle John Johansson, and this is Andrew Scott. Say hello.
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 Okay. That's creepy. All right, so today we're going to be reviewing Bad Batch episode. I got the wrong stuff listed. We're going to be reviewing episode 9 or 8 and 9. That's Reunion, and the other one is Bounty Lost. We'll be doing some news and, of course, recapping the entire episode and putting out some questions of the week. And that'll about do it. I was looking here. That's why I paused for a minute. I was looking at some of the stats we've got going on. So since this episode we just did came out recently, there's only been one person that's viewed our YouTube site. That's probably me because I played it a couple times. Yeah, and weirdly enough, some of the old questions of the week have been viewed quite a bit, but nobody's voted on them. Like I said, which is weird. We have no comments or anything anywhere. So I wanted to encourage everybody, if they, stop listening at the end of the show, like we always ask for comments and stuff, we're going to ask for it at the beginning this time. So, we encourage you to comment and interact with us through our comments section on the website, through the YouTube channel. We have 2 questions of the week.
We are touchy-feely kind of people.
Yeah, we want to hear your stuff. So.
We like feedback.
We like it.
Whether we need to dress Kyle up in a Chewbacca outfit or get one of those masks so he can go, oh!
Yeah, we want some feedback. Yeah. I don't know about the Chewbacca costume. Yeah, and also we have social media as well. We have our main social media page on Twitter, and then we have those can all be found on our website too. So with that, let's get into the news.
It's time for the news.
So the only news article I've got this week is some news about the Andor show that's going to be on Disney Plus. Some of you may have remember us talking that the show had wrapped up production and actually has been renewed for season 2, which it says will begin production at in the fall of this year. um, presumably to be, released. The second season to be released next year. And this news is mostly talking about when they're gonna actually make it available for us to watch and everything. This show is going to be a regular type of show. It's got 12 episodes for the first season, and they're planning on August for Andor to start, which means we'll have Kenobi starting in May 26th, and likely Bad Batch, and then Andor. And because we've known Bad Batch, this first season was 16 episodes. I don't know if it's going to be that many episodes this next season, but hopefully that'll be enough to fill the gap between Kenobi and Andor. I really don't like this empty gap that we have here, where there's not even hardly any Star Wars news at all, or anything that we can connect with. But it talks here, it's got that Diego Luna's the guy's name, the one that played on Rogue One. It's supposed to follow him as a spy for the Rebels. Like I said, 12 episodes. And then, of course, after the Andor's over, it'll be time for the Mandalorian to take over, and then that'll probably be the last show for the year from Star Wars. Part of the reason we have these gaps like we're having right now is because they're releasing a lot of Marvel stuff also. So they think that we can't handle having Marvel and Star Wars at the same time for some reason. So, what do you think about that? Does that sound like a
That's doable, but
doable?
they're just so busy over there.
Yeah, well, if they
need they need a Star Wars camp and a Marvel camp.
Well, see, that's just it. I think they have that because, I mean, sure, not Filoni, but yeah, Filoni came from Marvel too, and Favreau was he did not all of them, but most of the Iron Man movies. But he also did Lion King, and he also worked on several other Disney things. So, I don't know. I always thought, Lucasfilms was separate from what they're doing for Marvel, because Lucasfilms really isn't doing any Marvel stuff at all.
No.
So I don't understand why it can't seem to be separate either, and they can't release stuff at the same time.
I think the Star Wars stuff more popular because more people, more stars in Hollywood want to either be in a background scene or be a stormtrooper or something like that, and just to say that they've been in a Star Wars movie. So that's why these up and coming shows are going to be going to have to watch closely and see, if you got other Hollywood people hanging out at the bar or messing with Mando. So
yeah, exactly. It's a good thing for them to have on the resume.
And most of them do it and not get paid.
Mm-hmm. Or get paid very little.
Yeah.
They pay them by paying their hotel room or something, and that's about it. All right, so let's in the news and do this.
And now a word from our sponsors. Does your bald head take a beating from shaving, the sun, and all of the things Mother Nature throws your way? Do ladies look at your dry, sunburnt head and cringe? Well, guys, there's a new product out there in the head care market that promises to rock your head. I mean dome. Looks soft, clean, and touchable, and it's trending #1 through social media and on YouTube. Introducing Dome Armor. It conditions with moisturizers like coconut oil and shea butter, protects with sunscreen up SPF 45, and enhances your already sexy dome into an irresistible hands-on experience. Keep your dome safe and protected. Get dome armor. Now available in fresh bacon scent. Sure to get the ladies to come running in fine stores like Walmart and Lowe's. Oh, and for those still struggling with minor hair loss, try Grow Gain. This product will refresh, revitalize, and regrow hair on your dome.
Yeah. I had an idea for to update that
You
advertisement a
can
little bit.
always go and get it at Dick's too.
Yeah, I was gonna. Dick's is probably the most popular location for it. Yeah, I think I had an idea for a new product that was gonna be part of that did the opposite. It was gonna be like a maybe for those who like to manscape and womanscape a little bit, but I didn't get that recorded. So anyway, let's get into
Is it the razor lightsaber?
I don't know. It was something like that, but I don't remember exactly what.
Whoa. Wow.
Yeah, I don't know. That would
All
be a
done.
scary sound, wouldn't it? I don't know.
All done.
Yeah.
Oops.
Said something.
Went from man to woman just like that.
Exactly. Let's run this.
Spoiler alert. Danger. You're about to be spoiled. This is your spoiler alert. We're about to talk candidly and explicitly about some TV shows or movies. If you have not watched them, please fast forward to the appropriate section. You will not be warned again because you will be spoiled.
Yep. Spoiled. I was going to bring this up, not necessarily because you want to do it, Scott, but maybe if anybody is listening wants to. There's, people have been talking about this game called Wordle for a while. It's just a word game where you guess a 5-letter word, and apparently the New York Times bought out the game, but there's a version of it, a clone of it called Star Wars Wordle, and it's actually kind of complicated because you have to guess a 5-letter word that's Star Wars related, and it's at a website called Wordle.starwars.guide. And I've been trying it almost every day, just like Wordle does, and it's a pretty interesting game. If you're interested in that kind of thing, it also once you guess the word or don't guess the word, there's a link to it to the Wikipedia, so you can look up what the word is. So if you don't know what it is, you can look it up. And this version, they give you hints. So after you've guessed 3 times and you missed it, they give you you can have a hint that you can maybe figure it out. Because Star Wars words are a little complicated, but so far the hints aren't that great. But it's a pretty good little app.
I've helped people at work playing the original game.
Yeah, the Wordle.
Yeah.
I've never been good at word games. Boggle and
they give you that square, and you could only use 5 letters, right?
Yep.
With letters, yeah.
Yeah, that's what it is, and it's
Is it this? You could get as many words out of that as possible, or is it just one word?
It's only one. You have only 6 times to guess the word.
Oh, okay.
So it tells you, it says, hey, this letter is in there, but you've got it in the wrong spot. or yes, this letter is the right spot exactly. And you have to then use that information and try to figure out the word. In as few tries as possible. 6 tries is all you get. And once you get to 6th try, they tell you what the word is. But anyway, let's get into the discussion here. So, this first episode we're talking about is season 1, episode 8, reunion. And basically that's a reunion. We get to see Crosshair again. We haven't seen Crosshair for a while. So if you remember the last episode, they were on the Jedi cruiser getting their chips taken out, and this episode picks up right away from there. But the first scene where we're on Kamino, and Crosshair goes in to talk to that Admiral Rampart guy who is actually talking to Lama Su, and Lama Su kind of says, "Hey, these guys are important to us. We'd like them back." And Admiral Rampart disagrees, and he sends a scout team out to get them, and says to terminate them instead of bringing them back. And of course, Lama Su doesn't like that, but she understands, because really all they really want is Omega.
All they really want is the genetic
material.
sample, right? And then they don't need the body anymore.
Yeah, I think the sample maybe lasts longer if they're alive, but they can do whatever they need to.
The ambassador said.
Yeah. Okay. So like I said, Rampart is not interested in deserters, and Crosshair is supposed to terminate them. And they depart to go intercept them on Braca, which is, like I said, where they're at. And when we first see Braca, Wrecker is showing Omega how to disassemble a thermal explosive. And he's explaining all the parts and what they do, and then he activates the bomb and tells her she's got 10 seconds to deactivate it. And panicking Omega, goes to cut the right wires that she was told, that she obviously wasn't paying attention to, and she picks the wrong wires, and the bomb is not disabled, and it goes off. They have a few seconds to run and hide, and Wrecker's laughing at her because it was only a smoke bomb. It wasn't a real bomb. He tells her that he wouldn't let her actually try her first try on a real bomb. So
yeah, he was so loud, distracting her.
Yeah, he was.
Jeez.
Telling her to hurry up and all this stuff.
Hurry up.
Yeah.
10, 9, 8, 7, 6. Come on.
Exactly.
Yeah.
What it means. And this is also when I think it's Echo comes down and says, "Hey, you guys need to pack it up because we're getting ready to get out of here." Because they see the scrappers are watching them even more. And they see they're also being tracked by a couple scrappers while they're walking to their the Marauder, I think it is. And they managed to stun the two of them and escape. Let's see.
Well, that one got on the floating platform or the hover platform and took off, and Wrecker
jumped on, right?
Wrecker took a ride.
He jumped on the back of it and just holding on for life, I guess, to get a chance to get on there. But they shook him off of that. He fell down. They shake him off. And it looks like maybe Hunter, or no, it's Echo finally gets a shot off at that guy and stuns him, and the lift or ship or whatever lift shipped crashes into something, and
Yeah. I think they were on. I think they were. They weren't on the Marauder. I think they were on that ship that
Cruiser.
they were getting ready to take stuff from.
Yeah, I think you're right. That's what it says here now. And they kind of gathered those 3 scrappers up and put them in basically a pile for them to nap off their stunning or whatever. Echo mentions Rex again. And Hunter says they need to stay for a little while because they need to find some things to make some money off of. Wrecker doesn't like the idea. And then that's when we see Hunter ask Tech about how much, they could haul out from this destroyer. And he says if they were able to unload the entire armory, they would have way more than enough money to do anything they wanted to. Obviously, they don't have time and space to load that all off, but Tech, they basically go on what the next scene calls as a treasure hunt. So Hunter wants to grab a few things so they have enough to pay off what they owe Sid. And Echo complains that they're soldiers, not smugglers. He doesn't want to be scavenging stuff and selling stuff all the time. And that's when Tech realizes that there's probably some stuff on the bridge of the ship that would be worth money to sell. So he and Omega go up to the bridge and start working on that. He's underneath the console and everything, and she's messing with some of the buttons and such and the equipment. Echo and once they get that all started up and everything, they see they all head off towards the munitions depot. Omega finds a crate of explosives and brings Wrecker over. Wrecker gets all excited, and then he sees a huge locked compartment of proton torpedoes. It's like goes up 20 feet up into the air. This locker full of these things.
Takes one out and like it's his girlfriend.
Yeah. And this is when Tech calls Omega up to the bridge. And Wrecker, he's acting like the missile is his girlfriend. He starts kissing and hugging all over the weapon. And Hunter and Echo grab up some stuff, and they begin to kind of offload some of those items. And we hear we're up on the bridge again, and we hear Omega's playing, and all of a sudden one of the lights starts flashing on the console,
on the panel. Yeah,
and she asks what that is, and Tech jumps out from underneath the console that he's trying to work on and says, "Oh, normally that's supposed to indicate that there's an approaching ship." And he says,
proximity sensor.
Yeah, he says it must be defective because there shouldn't be anything. He assumes there shouldn't be anything there, but seconds later they see a couple. They see a couple Imperial ships fly by.
3 or 4, I think.
Yeah, 3 or 4,
And
at least
land.
3, I think is what it was. Yeah, and they land. Obviously, this is Crosshair and his new squad that he's trained up, and they land, and they split up, and Tech warns Hunter about it, and they Hunter asks if those are scrappers, and Tech says no, they're Imperial. They're from the Empire. And then we cut back to the Camino, and Nala Se is with the Prime Minister Lama Su, and Lama Su mentions they can no longer delay and needs to kind of step up their efforts to obtain the genetic material they need.
See, I
Lama Su
we
wants more
round
bounty
that.
hunters.
We round that like 3 or 4 times to see what he actually said. They called it was small clone. Girls. So
Yeah, he says as long as one of the bounty hunters delivers the young clone intact, that's all that there should be concerned about. That's what it says in here for exactly what he said, or it's about what he said. But then we go back to Braca, and we see them on the bridge watching the ships. People disembark. We see a bunch of troopers and the elite squad that we that Crosshair trained, and then Crosshair comes out, and they begin splitting up and looking for the Bad Batch, and this is when one of the troopers says that he can't read anything on the scanner, and that's Crosshair tells him that's because you're being blocked. So
Did Crosshair convert his rifle also to a flamethrower? Is that why his pack's bigger?
no, his pack's always been big like that. It's just he's got a huge case that the rifle, because those kind of rifles you disassemble them, right? Yeah. So it's a bigger case to disassemble, and it's got a longer barrel than a regular rifle does, and all that stuff. But yeah, it's always been a big backpack type of thing. Yeah, they're being okay. So yeah, so he says they're being jammed, and he leads a squad. He tells a group of troopers to go look at the shuttle, the cruiser they're looking for, and the Bad Batch and Omega are gathering all this stuff in a hallway now and getting ready to, evade these guys because they know they're coming to find them. And let's see, they're on their way to return to the Marauder, and Imperials are already on the ship as they try to make their escape. And this is where we see that since Crosshair understands the group, he's immediately, they find him pretty quickly. Crosshair orders the troops to secure the perimeter, and Tech taps into the comm chatter, and this is where Crosshair also, says things on the chatter that kind of lead them to exactly where they want them to lead them, which is a what is it? It's a munitions area where there's big cannons in it, right?
Yeah.
Artillery deck, that's what it's called. Yeah. They also did call it a munitions area too. It doesn't say in here exactly what that's called, but Crosshair explains that they were misleading them. And we see Tech is trying to tap in and activate the laser cannons. And eventually he gets in and fires one, which causes a big distraction. And
Yeah, well, they discussed that if they did that, what would happen to the deck?
yeah,
And-
it would
And
probably,
they said, oh, it would crumble and crash.
yeah, because it's so old and in such bad shape that it
Yeah.
would fall apart and crash.
That
Yeah, the decks
cannon was
would.
pretty cool, though.
It was huge though, wasn't it? It was like
Yeah.
as big as a building. It was
boom.
huge,
Yeah.
and it
Boom.
yeah it bounced like bounced up and down and everything. They get out of the way, and Omega is pleading with Crosshair and telling Crosshair that it's the chip that he's got, the inhibitor chip, that's causing him to do this. And Crosshair orders the troops to aim at the kid, and tells Hunter tells Crosshair that he has issues with Crosshair. And like we said, Tech ends up powering up the weapon, and the weapon, goes back and forth and bounces on the deck, and you can see above where the deck starts to collapse above them. And Omega begins firing her little bow thing, Zagarian energy bow, is what they call it.
Yeah.
And they
just
make their
jumped-
escape.
She just jumped right in there and started killing the troopers and shit.
Yep, she did. I mean, yeah, and this is where I think it was a funny part, but it was a part where Wrecker grabs a couple of the troopers and throws them out off the deck there, and they're like, ah!
Ah!
If you listen to that, the noises those guys made is I think was pretty funny. It was and stuff, yeah, and
That's what you get when the blind's leading the blind.
exactly. And they're carrying ammunition and weapons and stuff. We see Wrecker's got a huge box full of stuff that he's carrying also. As they're battling these guys, you can hear and see the deck above kind of collapsing more and more.
Yeah.
And it the Bad Batch find their path are blocked by troopers who are firing flamethrowers. Wrecker throws a proton torpedo at the troopers and bonks them.
It goes bonk.
It doesn't blow up or anything. It just dong.
Dong.
Like if you threw an empty tank at him or something. Dong.
Yeah.
It was kind of funny. He says he gets excited about having a direct hit or whatever. Kind of celebrates it. And this is when Tech tells the Bad Batch that maybe a good escape is through the ion engine chamber. Which
How
would be
is that a good escape?
Yeah, well, they weren't depending on someone going. That we find out here soon that someone goes up and actually activates the engine, and that's partly their fault because they were activating the power on the ship to allow them to steal data off the bridge, right? So what they originally did was a problem.
Kind of bit him in the ass.
Yeah, so fugitive. The clone troopers say that they're tracking them, but they're kind of avoiding choke points. And Crosshair orders a shuttle to be brought to the artillery deck, and he just kind of jumps off the artillery deck onto the ship. Their little walk plank thing extends out, and he just kind of jumps and walks onto the ship. Echo is surprised about the plan. Omega tells Wrecker that she's never been inside an engine. And Wrecker thinks it's kind of weird to be in there. He's kind of nervous about it, which he should be, right? And Tech starts to describe the marvel of engineering for the engine. Something about blast coating.
Yeah. Who said? Because it could take so much heat, and then was it Hunter that said shut up and move?
No, it was Wrecker. Wrecker says nobody cares and pushes him along. No. And it says here, Hunter approaches the end of the engine chamber, and he avoids a blast from Crosshair because Crosshair's outside waiting for him. He's got high ground basically up above, and Crosshair's taunting them, just shooting pot shots at him, not really hitting him. And Hunter orders a retreat, but suddenly they hear like we said, the engines start to come online.
Yeah.
Echo says that it's not necessarily possible, and Tech admits that, like I said, as he was trying to restore power, that power also included power to the engines.
They got like 2 minutes.
Yeah, Tech says they have less than 2 minutes to escape. And their obvious exit is where Crosshair is firing at them at. So they have to come up with a plan, and one of the plans is take some of those bombs they were stealing and actually put them around the edges of the engine housing and blow it up. And they also mentioned that it's going to shear off the housing and they're going to fall. And Wrecker is not very happy about that, because that could go wrong many ways, right? They could fall down and
Yep.
and get killed and all that. Omega talks about that as well. And Hunter says they have no other choice, because if the engines come online and actually start, they're going to be, incinerated, burnt up. So they all jump around and put their explosives around the edges where the engine housing seals in, and set them to explode. The explosions go off, and it tears the cone off the engine, and they fall down just in time for the engine to start up, be fully started up. And when it does start up, it like I said, Crosshair is outside with some clones, and several of them get singed, and so does Crosshair a little bit. He kind of takes cover a little bit, but it's
He's all messed up.
he's all messed up. Yeah. He basically passes out.
Yeah.
Right there. And the Bad Batch escapes to their shuttle, even as the troopers are shooting at him and everything. And we switch to a scene where they come upon the area where the Marauders at, and all the guards that are supposed to be guarding their ship are down on the ground, all fallen to the ground of some sort. And Omega is surprised, and Hunter obviously realizes that there's something going on. There's somebody there that did this.
There's someone else here.
It wasn't done by a clone of some sort. Not by scrappers, she says.
Yeah.
And this is when we see the
Panda.
Duros bounty hunter Cad Bane show up.
Yeah, he was on the top of the ramp to the ship, to the Marauder.
That's when Hunter tells Omega to get behind him. Like you said, he exits the Marauder on the ramp with Todo, his 360 droid. And he talks, Bane talks about how he has become an expert in taking out clones. And then Hunter replies that he's in for a surprise because they're not the normal type of clones. And Omega is like, why? Bane asks if Bane's a bounty hunter. And this is when Bane again tells her that she's pretty smart for figuring that out already.
Mm-hmm.
And the droid Todo threatens them and tells them they're in trouble. Hunter tries to interrogate him and find out who hired them. And he refuses to say and says it's confidential information and asks Hunter to peacefully hand over Omega. And Hunter replies that Omega is not going anywhere. And that's when Bane says that that's unfortunate for him. And he starts, doing his tapping by his weapon there. He's got his hand right there by the weapon. And then we say, bless you, Scott, for sneezing. Hunter reaches for his weapon, and the two have there's a little moment there where we're seeing both of them getting ready to grab for their weapon. And it appears that Bane gets the first shot fired off, and Hunter's shot, since it hit Hunter first, Hunter's shot goes off and hits Todo and knocks off one of Todo's
his leg.
It says here a booster, which is because the droid floats or whatever.
In his leg.
Yeah, so I always call it a leg because the booster is that little round thing that's on the end of it. So
Yeah.
I always consider it the whole leg, the leg. It's right at the joint, right? It's right at the knee area, looks like. So
Yep. He's a hop along droid.
Exactly. He needs some crutches. And this is when Omega rushes over to Hunter to make sure he's okay. And she can't really tell if he's okay. I think she knows that he's alive. He's just knocked out, basically.
Mm-hmm.
And Omega picks up her bow and aims it at Bane, but Todo, the droid, knocks it out of her hand. He kind of does a loop around and sneaks up behind her and knocks it out of her hand.
And then Bane knocks her out.
Yeah, with it.
Stuns her.
Sets his gun to stun and knocks her out.
Well, I think it was on stun the whole time.
It could be. I always thought when you look at the weapons and they have the little circle that comes out of the weapon instead of a bolt, I always thought that meant it was a stun. So I don't remember when Bane was shooting at Hunter if that was coming out or if it was a bolt or not. But I always considered that, it's like a circle ring that comes out of it, like a thing. And I always thought that's when it meant they were stunning. I could be wrong, but I think that's how it works. Yeah. So then Bane, since Bane knocked her out, he apologizes and grabs her, and he takes her onto his ship. And then we flash to a scene where medics are tending to Crosshair, and you can see, Crosshair has been patched up quite a bit. He's got a sling for his arm, and he's got bandages all around his head and everything. And he tells the medics to get off of him and rushes to a shuttle so he can, catch the Bad Batch escaping the Marauder. They all, Echo and Wrecker and them all show up and wake up Hunter, and Hunter and them get into the Marauder. Hunter was not really injured. It hit him in the chest plate, which the chest plate, basically kind of like a bulletproof vest type of thing,
Yeah.
and it kind of stopped it. He's injured a little bit, but not much. He's kind of out of it a little bit. And they all get on the ship. And Hunter tells Wrecker that the bounty hunter took Omega, and they have to find her right away. And that's when the episode ends. So, let's do Juan's real quick.
We are proud to welcome our latest sponsor, Juan's Cantina, where every first week of the month on the standard galactic calendar we celebrate what the ancients call Cinco de Mayo. Come join us at Juan's for the food, mariachi music, and 34 flavors of margaritas. That's Juan's Cantina right next to the Hangar 94 of Mos Eisley Spaceport. On day 2 of the week is Taco Tuesday. All tacos are half a credit each and enjoyed with our house margaritas. Juan's Cantina also serves the galactically famous Dos Camarones Azul Cerveza, imported directly from Queso. Thank you again for our latest sponsor, Juan's Cantina.
Yeah, Juan's Cantina. And I went and ate there this week, and I had the Champion Burrito, which is a very great burrito. It has like a cheese sauce on it, yellow cheese sauce on it, and it's got shrimp and steak and chicken inside of the burrito. You get rice and beans with it. It's a pretty good dish. You should try it. Doesn't it sound good? Yeah. I had it this week. It's actually went to a little known restaurant around here called what's it called? It's on Metcalf and 119th Street. Anyway, yeah, K Machos. I went there. We had a gathering with some people from work, just a few people, and we ate dinner
that's so
there.
special. Oh my god.
Yeah, whatever.
Did you
all right,
dress
so
up?
let's. No, I wore a t-shirt and shorts. Why should I dress up? I don't dress up when I get on meetings for work. So anyway, so the next episode, season 1, episode 9, is called Bounty Lost, and we immediately pick up in this episode from where the last episode left off. We see our group in the Marauder being pursued by Crosshair and his team in another ship, and they're firing and pewing at them. Wrecker is in the rear gun turret, and he says it's getting hot back here. The rear deflector shields are starting to fail, according to Tech, and Hunter allows Tech to make the jump to light speed to escape Crosshair. And Crosshair is like, in rage as he does, as he loses them.
My birdie.
Yeah. And that kind of, I wanted to speak to that a little bit because, my question of the week is related to that. So, do you think that because of that, Crosshair is madder than ever to try to get our team, or is it just made to look that way? That's our question of the week. Is Crosshair madder than ever at the Bad Batch, and he wants to pursue them even more? Because they injured him and escaped him again. He failed his mission basically. So, good soldiers follow orders.
Yeah.
So that's our.
He's still. I don't think he's conflicted yet.
You don't think he's conflicted yet? Yeah, I think that comes later.
He might become conflicted because of the blast from the engine.
Yeah, I think so
and his
too.
Injury.
I think so too. I think he's realizing that he actually misses being with the group because they're so innovative with how they do things. And he may actually be enjoying pursuing them a little bit too, because it's a challenge, right?
Mm-hmm.
So then we flash to Bane's ship, and Omega wakens up and she's in a holding cell aboard his ship, which is called the Justifier. I never knew the name of the ship. the cell is secured with an energy shield that she tries to, touch and make sure is there. And she's down, in the lower area, and Todo, the droid, is down there too, and he's trying to fix his own leg, and he tells her that he is a mechanic droid and should be able to fix it himself. And Omega keeps telling him that she can help him fix it as well. He doesn't cooperate or do anything with prisoners, and as he continues on, he's having more trouble, and let's see, we see that Bane asks for Todo. Bane comes into scene and asks how the asset's doing, and that's when Omega insists that her name's Omega and not an asset. And that's when Bane removes his hat and introduces himself to Omega, and she asks where he's taking her. And that's when he and Todo walk away. Omega says that he'll be sorry for messing with her friends. And Bane says that her friends are long gone. Nobody is coming.
Yep.
And that's when Todo asks Bane about his leg and see if he can fix his leg for him. The bounty hunter ignores him.
Can you fix my leg?
Exactly. Mr. Bane, I need it. Something like that.
Then he's just sitting there trying to put it on and
right.
zaps himself,
and we also get a scene where
Mr. Bane's too busy. He's a busy man.
He is. That's when we get the scene where he contacts the Kamino Prime Minister Lama Su, telling him that he has Omega and she's alive, and he better get a premium price for her because she's still alive.
Did you like how he had his feet up on quote his dashboard?
Yeah, that was funny. His feet are up there. He's relaxing. And Bane tells Lama Su that he wants the credits unmarked at their prearranged coordinates. And we see on Kamino the scientist Nala Se, which is the one that always worked with Omega, tells Lama Su that she will deliver the credits to Bane and retrieve Omega. The Prime Minister disagrees and says that she has too much of an interest in Omega, and Lama Su instead sends Tan Wei to rendezvous with Bane at the abandoned Kamino facility on Bora Voy. So it's another clone facility that they had that's been abandoned. He instructs her to pay the bounty hunter and bring back their property. He also orders Omega be confined to the facility. Once they have received her genetic material, he orders Tan Wei to terminate Omega. And that's when we see Nala Se kind of look a little troubled about this. And then again, we go back to the ship, and Todo is still trying to fix his leg with the whatever. He's not doing very well. And Omega basically is convincing him that she can fix it for him since he's having trouble. She knows how to do it, and she tries to make it sound like she's sympathetic towards the droid and everything like that. And she's done this several times with AZ droid on Kamino. and the droid still doesn't trust Omega. Then we flash to our Bad Batch, who Echo has searched the database and found that this bounty hunter's name is Cad Bane, who has multiple run-ins with the Jedi, and also attempted to kidnap Chancellor Palpatine, which is the reason why all the Jedi went into his office that one time. That's around the time when Mace Windu got killed, because they were in there to thwart an assassinate or a kidnapping attempt.
Yeah, that's right.
Wrecker says the bounty hunter asks why the bounty hunter was on Pantoro and why he wants Omega, and that's when Tech says that he is with doing more scans of her. He realizes that she is more valuable than they realized. He discovers that she is pure first generation DNA, which means it's been unaltered DNA. So she is a clone that's unaltered, unlike the rest of them who have been altered a little bit. Tech kind of explains that a little bit. She is a genetic template of Jango Fett. While their structure was modified for growth and acceleration and obedience, Omega is a pure genetic replication. Hunter asks how many clones like that exist.
Wouldn't that make Bobo her brother?
Exactly. So Hunter asks how many clones like that exist, and Tex says, to his knowledge, there's only one similar pure genetic replication, a male clone named Alpha, but is later referred to as Boba. Since nobody's been in contact with him since he disappeared at the start of the Clone Wars, which is right when his dad's head got cut off, and he says he's got the helmet in his hand. Nobody's seen him since then. He's crying. So basically, that means Omega is the sole remaining living source of Jango Fett's genetic material, and the Caminos must have put a bounty on Omega. So they're putting all the pieces together and realizing that the Kaminoans want her back so they can, secure their worth. Wrecker asks how they will find this bounty hunter, and Hunter has Tech contact Sid to seek out more information if she can find him. And we go back to the to Cad Bane's ship, and this is where Omega finally convinces the droid to let her out so she can fix his leg. She helps him out and gets it fixed, and it doesn't work correctly. So Todo asks her to adjust it a little bit, and she goes in the back and adjusts it. And immediately, once it's fixed and adjusted, she turns him off and powers him off.
She's so tricky.
Yeah. And Omega begins to search the area to try to find her communicator, the little armband communicator that they gave her a few episodes back. Omega.
She finds it.
She finds it eventually. It's up on her upper shelf. She finds it and gets it just right before the moment that Cad Bane comes down to check on him, because he can't. He's been calling Todo and he can't. Toto is obviously not replying. And the ship begins to descend on this Borovio planet. And that's, like I said, that's when Bane contacts Todo to help out with the landing. Omega finds the link, and Bane finds Todo has been deactivated. He wakes up the droid. And Bane demands where's the kid at, and Todo claims she's right over here in her cell. And then he goes, "Oh no," which is, yeah, that was a pretty funny little thing too. And we see Omega's run out onto the landing platform. She's already got off the ship, and she's trying to use her comm link to contact the Bad Batch, which signal's not strong enough. And then we go back to the Marauder with our Bad Batch. Echo says that Sid doesn't know about Bane's whereabouts, and told them that they're on their own. This is where Hunter picks up Omega's long-range transmission, and Echo tries to boost the signal and tells them that she is here but doesn't know where she is. So they finally get her. She finally communicates with him. And the Echo Wrecker says they're coming, but Echo warns that the signal is too weak to establish a direct connection trace, so they can't find her through tracing the signal. And Hunter tells Omega to find a door panel similar to the one on Topoka City, and so she can relay her position by creating a power surge through the panel. Tech tells Omega to activate it, causing the door to open, reroute the circuits to cause an overload in the grid so that they can detect that surge. And Bane catches up to her and grabs her and says something by crook or by hook. And he cuffs her and drags her along. Omega calls Hunter back for help, but Bane takes the comm link off of her arm and steps on it.
Stomps on it.
Yeah. And this is when we switch to back to the Justifier, the Cad Bane ship, and Todo is enjoying his new repaired leg, and all of a sudden he detects another unidentified ship coming, and he tells Bane that there's a ship coming, and Bane has him check it out. They want him alive. Omega wants Bane to tell her where she's taking him, but he says he's not going to tell her, and she tells him again that they're going to be sorry when her friends show up. And this is when Bane orders her to be silent. He senses that someone is there, which is probably the person who landed the ship, and he drags Omega through the corridor so they can find Tanwi, and they find Tanwi already lying on the floor. Somebody's already shot Tanwi and killed her. And this is when we see Fennec Shand show up. Fennec shoots a couple blasts at Bane, and she has the case with the credits in it, and she taunts Bane with it and says that, hey, I've got the credits, you don't. And Shan says that Omega was her first score, and that she and Omega go way back. So we find out that Shand's first bounty was Omega back on the previous couple episodes before. She has the payment. Shand proposes a trade, the case for the girl, and Bane says that sounds fair, but he demands that Shand bring him the case first. And as she's slowly starting to approach, the droid Todo grabs the case from her hands, and Bane fires a few shots at Shand, missing her, of course. And that's when Bane has a detonator that he activates and rolls it towards her, and she ends up kicking the detonator away from her, and it goes towards Todo, and Todo gets the percussion of the explosion. He blows him off the deck, and the case opens up, and all the credits fall out, presumably to the ground. That's very far down below, maybe 1,000 feet down or something like that. Because this facility is up in the air, and like you said before, we don't know for sure if there's water down there. We don't know if it's an ocean kind of atmosphere like the other place on Kamino. And Shand and Bane exchange fire back and forth through some corridors. Omega escapes because Bane's too occupied with Shand.
Doesn't she find like that escape pod? Isn't that what that is?
She sees an escape pod, and Bane orders Todo to find her. So she is running, and this droid keeps showing up, and she keeps fighting with the droid a little bit. And Shand and Bane keep firing at each other, and eventually there's a silence in the fire as Bane thinks he's got her Shand cornered. He attempts, and then Shand he thinks he found her, but it's actually a bomb that Shand had planted, and it explodes. He narrowly escapes being exploded by it, but it knocks him out in the corridor, and kind of knocks him unconscious for a few seconds. And like you said, Omega flees to a lower platform so she can get to that.
She got there pretty fast too.
Yeah, so she goes to an area where there's a control panel, and she starts playing with the control panel and powering it on, which she activates a transmitter, so it'll send a signal to the Bad Batch, and they could find her. And we immediately this is when Shand shows up and tries to capture Omega, and during part of the scuffle, one of the pods gets cracked, and Shand's right there when the pod falls over and lands on her, which allows Omega to get away. And we cut to the Marauder, and Echo sees the signal that she released, and Wreckers asks where it is in the Lido system, and Echo searches for exact coordinates, and they find it and put in the coordinates in their ship's information. And we see Todo up with Bane because he knows that Bane's been knocked out. And he tries to wake up Bane. And Todo vows to complete the task and not fail him. So that's when Todo begins following Omega again. And communication center, the tank explodes. Okay. And when when the tank falls on Shand, it's got a big, huge gray skinned alien in it. It looks like one of those Kaminoan aliens. It's a big, tall one. And looks like Bane is woken up and begins to chase her again. This time, Shand throws a little thing that's got balls on it, 3 different balls on it, and it hits his hand and kind of knocks his weapon out of his hand.
It's like a bolo.
Yeah, like a bolo is. Yeah.
She's
And
used
Bane,
that before.
she has, but that's in the future. And that's when Bane gets right up on Omega. This time Shand is there again, and Omega goes down another manhole towards her escape pod. And that's when we see Todo finally catch up with Omega.
Tapping on the window.
Well, he's attacking her while she's climbing down the ladder too.
Okay. Yeah, that's right.
She kicks
and
him a
she
little
jumps
bit.
on him. Then
Yeah,
she jumps
exactly.
on him.
He jumps on him, and he
It's
can't handle the
rodeo
weight.
time.
Doesn't look like he can handle the weight very well, does it?
It's rodeo time.
Exactly. Ride the bull until you fall off. And that gives Omega some time to actually to escape, because Todo crashes and he's kind of sparking and short circuiting a little bit. Doesn't take him long to recover though, and he follows her like you said in up to the ship, and he gets in on top of the ship and is knocking on the glass, and he says, "Oh no," because he sees Omega getting ready to launch the craft. And we flash to some more fighting with Shand and Bane. And Todo warns Bane on the comlink that Omega's escaping. And he orders Todo back to the Justifier. And you see Bane use his flamethrower to drive Shand back.
Yeah. But
that's where Shand restrains him and kicks him over the platform. However, that's when we see Bane activate his shoe lift things, and he throws himself back up onto the platform. And like you said, meanwhile, Omega's pod is rocketing away from into the planet's atmosphere, and it begins to run out of fuel. You can see it kind of sputtering, and Omega's like, "Uh-oh." And as it runs out of fuel, it starts to arc down and go towards, we don't know, the land or the ocean, whatever's down there. And just as it's finally running out of the last parts of gas, something catches the pod, and the manhole connection between the two opens up, and Wrecker's there, and Omega immediately runs up to Wrecker and gives him a hug because she knows she's been rescued. Yay! She's also greeted by Hunter, Echo, and Gonki, the weird droid guy. And the Marauder flies away, and Omega is talking to Hunter and sobbing about how she doesn't want to be hurt like that anymore. And why is it happening to her? And that's when Echo tells Hunter to tell Omega her real worth and why she's different. Okay, and then we see we go back to the justifier on Bane's ship, and they're still struggling to get the ship started up so they can leave and chase after the Bad Batch, because they have detected that the Bad Batch is there to rescue um, and get her. And somehow they find out the engines aren't working because it's been sabotaged. And that's probably, we find out, could be something that Shand did. Fennec Shand, that sounds like
Probably.
something she would do. And he watches in rage because his ship won't start, that Fennec flies away and escapes as well. And we see in Shand on her ship, she does a communication between Nala Se, which is the like I said, the person that worked with Omega.
Yeah.
And she asks, Nala Se asks for an update, and Shand tells her that Omega was rescued by the same clone she encountered on Pantora. She says that she can track them, but it'll cost extra. Nala Se tells Shand that Omega is, as long as Omega is safe, she doesn't mind paying extra. And Nala Se transfers the first payment right away. And says, Shand says that she knows how to reach her for if she needs more help. And we go back to the Marauder, and Omega is climbing down the ladder from her little room or whatever, and we notice that most of the batch is sleeping, and she walks up to the cockpit, and Hunter's sitting right there, and her and Hunter have a little talk. You can see Hunter's got a bunch of bandages on too, because of his shot there, being shot by Cad Bane. And she's complaining about how she doesn't want to be an experiment in a tube anymore. She doesn't want to, she fears that since she's so valuable that the bounty hunters will keep coming after her. And this is where we get Hunter saying that he promises that she will never have to go back to Kamino. And that makes her happy. And we obviously know that that's not necessarily the truth, because future episodes they do go back to Kamino, but the episode ends anyway at that point, where Omega has been told that she will never go back to Kamino. And my question of the week for that episode is that the last we'll see Fennec Shand with the Bad Batch team? Do you think we'll see her again? What do you think, Scott?
Probably.
We know we see her in the future with Boba Fett. And I mean, since she's around with the Bad Batch, she's got to be pretty young then, right? Because if she's alive during the Boba Fett show, she's quite older then, right?
Remember, she said that oh crap, Omega was her first gig, her first bounty,
right?
So she's probably in her 20s or something.
Yeah, probably about that. So that would mean she's probably like 40 or so when the Book of Boba Fett, 40, maybe 45, 50, I don't know. And since she got everything redone, she's probably
I don't think she'll age.
She's not going to age much anymore, so she may be around forever. We don't know. Anyway, so that's the question of the week. Again, we encourage everyone to give us your opinions. You can go to the website. There's a feedback link. You can fill out the form, and it'll send us our feedback. We do not collect any information from that, any of your personal information through that form. You have a choice to put in a name, and that can be any name you want to and then your feedback. Again, we also post this video that we make here on YouTube. There's an option to comment on YouTube as well. So far, we have 6 episodes on YouTube, and there's going to be. Is that right? Wow, that's a lot. Yeah, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and today's will be 7. So look forward to that. We want to hear your comments there. We have these polls also on the website. There's a link there to click on it, and you can answer the poll. Also, the polls have an option to add comments if you want to explain more why you answered what you answered in the poll. And so far, we have no real votes on those polls from last week as well. The polls from last week actually end in about a day, so you have just a day more to answer those questions. Anything else you want to talk about, Scott?
No.
No. You're just looking
No.
forward to watching some more episodes and talking more about them, right?
Yeah. Well, I'm right now. I think I'm like on. Well, there's Crosshair. I'm on like 14 or so.
Yeah, so just to keep people on where we're at, not that I'm dismissing anything you said there, but we're going to review episodes, what is it, 10 and 11 now we're
Yeah.
on? So 10 and 11, our original plan was hoping to do a couple episodes a week and hopefully be done right before the Bad Batch season 2 premieres. But they're now saying that Bad Batch is not going to premiere until later this year, which is what we already talked about in the news, where it could appear after Andor has come out. And so episode 10 is called Common Ground, and episode 11 is called Devil's Deal. Rim Empire. Yeah, so that kind of deals more with what's going on with the Empire and stuff. Before we get to the last couple episodes that go for the finale, there is 16. Yeah, there's 16 episodes for season 1, and so we're getting really close to being towards the end. We've only got 7 or so episodes left to go, 7 or 8 episodes to go. And just remember, the last 2 episodes are a 2-parter. It's part 1 and part 2.
Yep.
So I'm excited. I think the episode you're on, Scott, is called War Mantle. And we get to some sort of secret facility, I think, where the clones are taking, where the clones are going to continue their stuff. Yeah, and I think
I'm on the one where where got Crosshair and the troops, but the captain walks out and talks to the troops. Their only exit or whatever. Even though the Bad Batch is already taken off, the captain's talking to the troops, telling them to lay down their arms and.
Right. Probably because they're gonna
arrested.
They're gonna kill him, I guess. I don't know. All right, so that kind of wraps up our episode today. Unless you have a little bit more, Scott.
No, I just I'm sorry for the teaser.
No, the teaser's good. I like the teaser. That's kind of what I was doing too, talking about the other episodes upcoming. Is teasing. Also, remember. The episodes you already watched, we see a young Hera too. Remember that?
Yeah.
Part of Rebels, we see her as a child. Yeah. So, which is fun too. So, I'll go ahead and play the outro then.
Thank you for listening to the Rebel Alliance Briefing Room podcast. Please visit our website where you can play current and past episodes. That's https://RABR.KyleJohansson.us. That's RABR.KyleJohansen.us. On the left-hand side is a navigation menu. You can use this to learn how to load the Rebel Alliance Briefing Room podcast on your Android or Apple phone and tablet. And we have direct links to our podcast on Apple and Google Podcasts. Please participate by connecting to our social media, answering questions of the week, or submitting feedback directly from the site. Again, all of these are available at the Rebel Alliance Briefing Room website at RABR.KyleJohansen.us. This podcast in no way is approved, sponsored, or owned by Lucasfilms Ltd., Disney, Disney Plus, or any of its subsidiaries. All opinions are solely owned by Kyle and or Scott, and in no way express the views or opinions of their past or present employers. Views and opinions are not supported or restricted by Lucasfilms Ltd., Disney, Disney Plus, or any of its subsidiaries. Any rebroadcast, reproduction, or other use of this podcast and its affiliate sites without consent of Super Duper Podcast Network and its host is prohibited. I am Kyle Johansson, and this is Andrew Scott Sutton. Say goodbye now.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.
Have a good evening. Yeah. Let me turn off this recording. Where's that at?